Greetings, one and all, wherever you are in the universe, metaverse, or rainbow, and welcome to an Espresso Shot of Confidence, the podcast that explores all aspects of confidence, challenges taboos and unhelpful narratives, and empowers you to be awesome loudly and proudly. It's time for you to grab a drink and settle in for the next however long this episode is. I'm your host, the Master of Awesomeness, Ashley Griffiths, and today we are going to talk about having the confidence to make choices in your life. This one is likely to get a bit raw, so strap in. It could be a wild ride. We live in a world where we are surrounded by infinite possibilities, loads of places to travel, ways to develop as a person, both personally and professionally. Loads of options for entertainment, where we can live, what we can do, where we can hang out with our friends. So many choices. Yet when it comes to change, when it comes to changing things up in our lives, humans have a tendency to kick, scream, and stay stuck. This often means people stay in their comfort zones, or as I like to call them, discomfort zones, and avoid taking risks like the plague. Why is this? Recent findings in neuroscience have found that the brain registers change like an error, like a computer error, like something that needs to be corrected for you to start feeling comfortable again. So this may explain why when we face change, when we've got a big change in front of us, or big choice or decision, we tend to second guess ourselves and go into panic mode once we've made that decision. Then, of course, there's the uncertainty of what comes next. Taking a step into the unknown is scary because, again, we're moving outside of our comfort zones. We're moving outside of what we know, and that can be bloody scary. Because of all of that, we often find ourselves panicking or feeling anxious about making that change. It's very common for us to start doing loads of what ifs. What if I do this? What happens if this happens? What happens if this happens? Oh my God. Things like this. What happens if I post on social media? Geez, the world will explode. The trolls will come out. Everybody will hate me. It will be the end of the world. Sound familiar? Or it could be like this. If you're having to make a big decision in your business or in your job, and there is an element of risk to it, it's very easy to get into a feedback loop of negativity here and worst case scenario stories. What happens if it goes wrong? Will I lose my job? Will everybody lose respect for me? Will my wife leave me? Will it be the end of the world? We've all been there, right? So all of this stuff can leave us feeling stuck, disempowered, and generally feeling pretty shit. So in this episode, let's explore this in more detail and see how we can gain the confidence to dive in headfirst with a smile in our face and just move through the world with more ease and more flow and not give these stories so much power. But before I begin, I just wanted to share this with you. I once heard something with a coach I was working with last year, and it really resonated with me. She said that decisions are often based on the past. So we make decisions when we're haunted by the past, when we're haunted by echoes from the past, when somebody at school said we were stupid, or we had a really shitty boss, or maybe there were issues at home when we were kids. And those things can influence us as we're going through life. They can influence us. They can have an impact on the decisions that we make. The second thing that my coach said to me was that choices happen when you're aligned, you're value driven, and you're focused on making impact. You're not giving stories from the past power. You're not doing that. You're focused on the future. You know that the choice you make today will have an impact on you today and in the future. That crap in the past, not interested. And speaking of choices, As this episode drops, as you're listening to this with your morning coffee or your cup of cocoa or whatever it is that you have in the morning with your latest episode of an Espresso Shot of Confidence, I'm going to be on a plane somewhere 30,000, 40,000 feet in the air on my way to Mexico because I've made a choice. And this choice was super important to me. I've made a choice to step out of my business, to shut up shop for 6 weeks and focus specifically on my self-care, to focus on Ashley, to focus on me, not the business. And it was hard to make that choice initially. It was hard because for the last 3 years, I've truly identified with being a business owner. That's became the dominant part of my life. Now, prior to lockdowns, pandemics, all that crap, I spent a lot of my life traveling. A lot of time exploring the world. I've lived 3 different countries, Thailand, China, Japan. I've visited 42 countries. As you're listening to this, I'm just on my way to country 43, and I'm super excited about that. But a big part of who I am got neglected over the last few years as I've been building a business. And anybody who's out there that's got a business will know that if you have to join the circus and learn how to juggle, it can be very challenging. But it is so easy to lose yourself. Now, I wanted to share some of these stories with you that came into my head as I was thinking about having the sheer audacity to put myself first. In my mind, I started thinking, 6 weeks. I'm not going to post on LinkedIn for 6 weeks. Wow. Are people going to forget me? Is anyone going to buy from me in the future? Are they going to forget what I've done? Is this going to be the end of my business? Am I going to have to go back and work again? Is the world going to explode? And yes, I did ask that question. Is the world going to explode? But luckily these days, with all the work I've been doing on a personal and spiritual level, I was able to identify these narratives for what they were. My comfort zone, my ego, screaming to me to stay here. It's safe here. You can make money here. You can be comfortable and warm and safe here. Why the hell are you going to A, turn off the money for 6 weeks, B, go to a country where you can barely speak the language, and C, shut up. At that point, I turned around and said, thank you very much, but no. This is super important to me. I'm going to choose with a smile on my face to book that ticket, get on that plane, and fully embrace the fact that it's just going to be me. I'm going to leave the computer at home. I'm not taking my computer with me. I'm not going to be editing this podcast while I'm away. I'm working like a mad bugger right now to make sure there's enough episodes that are ready to go that I can load up on the server that can come out while I'm away. But ultimately, if I don't get enough episodes done, that's okay, because I have every confidence in myself that I'll be able to get back on the wheel and get things moving really, really quickly. But with one fundamental difference, I'm not going to be knackered. I'm not going to be burnt out. And I'm going to be engaged and ready to smash it again. And this is something that I really wanted to share with you, because I see it all the time with all this should crap and all these expectations out there of what you should be doing as a business owner, what you should be doing as a human, what you should be doing as a parent, what you should be doing as a partner. Fuck that. It is so easy to lose yourself. It is so easy to lose yourself when you buy into someone else's bullshit. It really, really is. So I invite you, I implore you, if your gut is telling you that something isn't cool, that something you're doing right now is not cool, walk the fuck away from it. Yes, you may not have a ready-made alternative waiting for you at the other end. You might not. But have the trust in yourself. Have the trust in yourself that you will get shit done, that you will find a solution, that you are resilient enough to make crap happen. And you will. Look at positive evidence from the past when you've been able to negotiate choppy waters, when you've been able to negotiate difficult situations. You're still here, right? Yeah, the world didn't explode. You're still here. You found a way. And this is one thing that I don't think humans do nearly enough. They don't celebrate their resilience. They don't celebrate their strengths. They don't celebrate the gifts that they have to be able to get shit done when they need to get it done. And it certainly doesn't help that you've got all this crap around you, marketing, social media, expectations. All of that combines to kind of dull your senses, dull your intuition, and keep you away from the things that you truly, truly want. All of this stuff can have an impact on you on any level, on a personal level. If you're stuck in a relationship that you don't really like, it doesn't fulfill you, but you feel the story tells you, if I leave this relationship, I'm going to be single forever. That's it. I'm done. It's the end. Why? Why is it at the end? How could it possibly be the end? You're awesome. You've just maybe forgot that. And moving away from that situation might help you to remember about that. It's the same in business. Let's take LinkedIn, for example. There's so many people who I like to affectionately call the linky lurkers. Now, these people, they hide in the background on social media because they've got all these stories saying to them, oh, fuck, if I post, what happens if I post, will anybody care? Will I have tumbleweed for company? Will it be the end? Will people question my competence? Will people question my knowledge? Am I going to be made to look like a bloody idiot? And 99% of the time, it's all just stories. You're doing that to yourself. You're telling yourself stories. You're telling yourself that you don't deserve to be successful. You're telling yourself that you're not good enough. Cut that shit. There's loads and loads of evidence, I'm sure, that you have from your past experiences, from when you've been working with people, when you've worked with clients and got excellent results. Go and look at that. Go and look at that information. That's the fucking truth. Believe it. Dial into your strengths and post the bloody thing that you've got to say, because I guarantee you that there is somebody out there that needs to hear what you've got to say. They need to hear it, and they need to hear it from you, specifically you, because you and your knowledge and your personality are going to resonate with that person. And let me stop you before you start saying, oh, well, Ashley, there's 5 million bloody accountants or 20,000 counselors or 957 million NLP practitioners on LinkedIn. Yeah, and they're not you. And there's a reason why these people that are still in the shadows on LinkedIn, who are not connected with all these NLP practitioners or teachers or business consultants or marketing experts, there's a reason for that. It's because they're not you. Because the other people that are out there, they haven't resonated with this person. Their content, their image, their personality, whatever, hasn't sung to that person. And that is why it's so important for you to show up. And yes, I know, believe me, because I have been there. These stories that we tell ourselves. Ah, geez. If you follow me on LinkedIn, you'll know I post pretty regularly. And I don't care anymore what people think. I really don't care if there's any sort of negative vibe to that, because I'm not putting that out into the world. I'm not putting that energy out into the world. I'm putting my content out with love. I'm hoping it will empower people. I know that it does. I'm not sending it out there expecting the post to go viral, to make shitloads of money off it. I never do that. ever. It's just not even something I contemplate. And yes, when I started, I got hung up on the vanity metrics, the fact that people weren't liking my content or I wasn't getting as much love as other people. But ultimately, that shit, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It is not important. It doesn't gain you anything. And yes, there are trolls, there are dickheads out there that might come up and start trying to pick a fight. Send them on their way with a hug. Don't put your energy into it. Don't give them your power. Just say thank you very much for commenting. Off you go. But don't post or think that you have to be something that you're not just to appease these people that you think you might piss off. Fuck them. Seriously. Who cares? They're not your people. They're not your tribe. They'll never work with you. There's a high likelihood you'll never even see them. And even if you did see each other in the street, there's a high likelihood you would just ignore each other. So why the fuck are you giving them your power? Just move past it. Post with love, post with energy, post with intention, and get it out there. Just go for it. What have you got to lose? I can guarantee you one of those things is that you will not be responsible for the world exploding because you decided to put a carousel post or a video on social media. I'm just going to leave that there. Another story I wanted to share with you is starting your own business. So how many of you are in a job that you think is shit, that you don't enjoy, that you don't get the opportunity to truly show what you can bring, and that you're not valued? Or you feel like you're taken advantage of or taken for granted? Probably quite a few, right? I know that one. I used to feel that way myself. I knew probably around 22 that I didn't want to work for people because I just got sick and tired of the BS decisions that were coming out that just didn't do anything. They were just senseless. It was like, we're going to jump through hoops because, well, it's something to spend money on. Yeah, but how is that enhancing the quality of the product, the service? I just never got it. It just used to go over my head and I get so frustrated and eventually I would quit. And I kept up that game for about 20 years because of one particular story. A story of not feeling good enough, of not feeling that I could achieve something by myself. I had all the tools, all the skills, the business acumen to make it happen, but I'd always been content to hide behind someone else's brand, someone else that ultimately took the big responsibility. Yes, I knew I could probably do it, but there was a lack of self-belief to make it happen. So I stuck in paid employment for basically 20 years, bloody miserable, pissed off with the BS, and constantly thinking, I can't do this anymore. But sadly, the not good enough story proved to be significantly stronger than my dislike for incompetent bosses, which was a problem. But when I was 38, I got a kick up the arse from the universe. After drifting around for a couple of years after I quit education, I was just kind of wandering about, drifting, just taking on jobs where I didn't really have to have any responsibility. And I was slowly getting sucked back into management. Honestly, it was like being on a conveyor belt. It really was a conveyor belt where I was not even fighting. And then, like I said, the universe stepped in with a swift kick up my arse. And I was made redundant. 2 days later, I was due on a plane to the Baltics. I'd booked a 2-week holiday. So I looked at my bank balance and thought, well, I don't have a lot of money and I don't have a job, and promptly proceeded to get on the plane for my 2-week holiday. And when I came back, I remember having a conversation with my dad, and I said, you know what? I'm going to try and find some new jobs. And he said, why don't you work for yourself? Why work for these idiots? You don't enjoy it, give it a go yourself. And that's exactly what I did. And 4 years later, I'm working for myself and still wholeheartedly agree that I will never, ever, ever work for a company ever again. Ain't happening. Ain't happening. And it's taken 4 years of addressing those stories of that not good enough bullshit, addressing that, facing it, finding the reality of what is true and what isn't true, and building up skills and knowledge, and kind of stumbling into a niche, actually, a niche that, thank you, COVID, actually led me to. But that's life. Sometimes we send out the energy into the world, and sometimes we're looking for one specific thing, but we end up going for something else. And that is perfectly all good, because that something else is awesome. And I truly love what I do now. And I highly recommend for you, if you're out there, if you're stuck in a job or contemplating starting your own business, go for it. Go for it. Tomorrow will not be a better day. Today is the day to make shit happen for today and for tomorrow. Tomorrow, you might find another bloody excuse why you shouldn't do it. If you're constantly looking for the perfect time, the perfect reason, the perfect storm to make shit happen, you're going to become an expert in waiting with a PhD in frustration. If you are thinking about making any sort of change, make it today. Make it happen today. And I can tell you this right away. It will feel uncomfortable at times. With our human nature of hating uncertainty and change, you will second guess yourself. You will question yourself. You will say, why the fuck have I done this to myself? Stick with it. Acknowledge the negative stories, accept them, find your truth. Keep moving forward with intention. Keep celebrating your successes every single step of the way. Be that small, be that big, be that life-changing. It doesn't matter. Celebrate them, because I guarantee you, every single day you take one small step forward, you are creating a compound effect, and you are going to feel bloody amazing, I can assure you. Yes, I'm not going to say 4 years later that I've got everything figured out and that everything is bed of roses. There are still times when I question things. There are still times when it feels uncomfortable, like you're swimming upstream. But if you are truly aligned with what you're trying to achieve, if you make choices every day that's going to help that become a reality, you will find your groove in no time and you will start having success. And as I've mentioned in previous episodes, when you get started, you determine your success. You determine what is going to be good for you. You determine that. Nobody else. Nobody else does that. It is up to you. So make today the day it happens. And as we're just coming to the end of story time with Ashley today, I thought I would throw in an espresso shot of confidence for you, our awesome listeners. And here it is. Do it today. Make it happen today. Give it a go. Post that video on social media. Put that content out. Start your own business. Quit that job. Go and find that new relationship that's going to light you up. Do it today. You deserve it. Believe in yourself. You are resilient. You are awesome. Lean into your strengths. You have got all the tools to make this shit happen. And even if you say you do not, there are options out there to learn those skills, to grow those skills. Start today. Don't waste another fucking day. So on that note, I wanted to say a big, huge thank you to all of you for listening today. For the next 6 weeks, the episodes will be published bi-weekly, and then we'll be back to a regular weekly schedule when I get back from Mexico. Just wanted to take this opportunity to thank you for listening. There's loads of really, really awesome, empowering content coming your way in the really near future. Please get in touch with me on LinkedIn or at www.loudlyproudly.com if ever you need any support in creating content, building confidence, and absolutely smashing your goals out of the park. So thank you once again. It's been awesome. You're awesome. And don't forget to be awesome.